Cougar Wrestling fans, Joe Pott here. We've got a short video update for you. We want to update you on the state of the program as well as some exciting things happening with SIUE Cougar Wrestling. I'll be joined today by Cougars head coach Jeremy Spates as well as our athletic director Tim Hall. We're going to talk all things wrestling. I'm joined now by the head wrestling coach here at SIUE, Jeremy Spates. And Coach, let's talk first about this past season that we just went through, a season that was probably unlike anything that you have been through and that most have been through as we try to come out of this pandemic and you're trying to navigate that with your student athletes, with competition. How was this season for your program?
It was definitely an interesting year for us. The coaches voted to have a shortened season and just try to get through it, have our NCAA tournament. So we were able to do that. We were able to do it. Our program was able to do it without a pause, which was pretty crazy for us. So. And we had a good year. We had, probably statistically looking at the MAC and SoCon, probably our best finish yet. 2 NCAA qualifiers once again for the seventh year in a row that we've had 2 or more qualifiers. So that was really good. Our guys did a great job throughout the year of dealing with the testing, dealing with the changes in schedule, changes in workout partners as we were trying to keep different groups separated and things like that. So it was difficult, but it was also a testament to our guys, to our staff, the administration doing all the testing that we were doing to be able to get through a season. So
I have been so impressed, and I've said this to so many coaches, with the flexibility that our student athletes have shown.
Yes.
And you mentioned it with the testing, with changing. I mean, literally, we're talking about sometimes days changing, changing on the hour. And our student athletes just seem to have gone with the flow so well.
No, they did a great job. They went from, some of them going into quarantines early with some positive tests, things like that. So they were, the last minute changes. We were down at Little Rock for a duel, and the Pac-12 had a different testing schedule. They had to test day of, and we were talking about, hey, we might go to weigh-ins and one person tests and we're all done, and we're driving back on the bus driving home, and they were able to take it in stride and just keep rolling forward. So it was good.
As we get into the summer here and we're looking towards the next school year, what's the roster look like? What's the schedule that's being put together? How's everything going right now?
We're very excited. We didn't graduate. Tommy Helton graduated, but he wasn't in our starting lineup at the end of the year because we had a really tough Colton McKiernan at heavyweight. But everybody else is back. We've had a good off season. We had 2 guys place out at the U.S. Open. One of those was Tommy Helton and Austin Macias, our 25-pounder. Austin also placed at the University Nationals. So guys have been working hard in the off season. A bunch of them are working for Alan, so he's been working them hard out in the field. But no, it's been good. We'll have 3 returning national qualifiers with Colton McKiernan from 2 years ago, and we should have our best team. We got to keep them healthy, and we got to keep progressing. But we're excited. We've got the room going. Our whole coaching staff is back. Like I mentioned, most of the team is back, so we've got things rolling in the right direction.
Let's talk about that room, and the wrestling room is what we're talking about, and certainly we're talking about an expansion project to that wrestling room. And I think what people may not realize, and while the focus is on, yes, the competition venue and First Community Arena, the things where the work takes place is in that wrestling room, isn't it?
Yep. No, we spend a lot of time in there, and even now I mentioned guys working in the off season. Guys are getting in there at 7 o'clock at night sometimes because they're getting off work and going to eat dinner and then coming in to work out. So we spend a lot of time in that room. There's a lot of friendly camaraderie that goes into it, and then there's also guys banging heads and making each other better. And so it's going to be huge for us. It's something that we've talked about for a long time, and now it's finally coming true. So we're pretty excited about that.
And I know it's not just a physical expansion with regards to space, which it is. It's also going to give you the chance to kind of maximize the way that room works and the way that you and your staff are able to prepare that team.
Yeah, that'll give us a little extra space just to get everybody in there when our coaches are all in practice and things like that. In the off season, when we're doing our regional training center through USA Wrestling, that'll help give us a little, enable more people in there. But it also, yeah, we do a lot of film work. We do a lot, unfortunately, with injured guys or different guys training in different areas. So those are nice things. We've updated some of the, you mentioned history of the program earlier, but we've updated some of the decoration as far as getting those All-Americans, national champions. But that'll be something else that will be really nice for our guys to see the history of the program. And that's something, even when I came in, the history stopped in our room in 1983, and it obviously continued past that on the mat. So we're excited about being able to honor some of our alumni through the decorations and the past.
And this is a storied program with a big alumni base, a lot of success in the past. You've talked about that since the minute you walked on campus. Yep. and the fact that you were part of that. How important is it for you that those alumni are involved and they're willing to reach out and be a part of this program still?
It's been awesome, and that's something that attracted me to the program here when I came on the interview, is just knowing that people had done it here before, knowing that a lot of the people are still local and still supportive. A lot of the local high school coaches are our alumni. You go to different areas. I was up in Chicago doing some recruiting at the state tournament series and had a bunch of alumni up there. So that's something that's always been really important to us, and we want to continue that tradition.
Coach, appreciate the time here this afternoon. Have a great summer and good luck with the prep for the next season and certainly with that wrestling room project.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
There's the Cougars head coach, Jeremy Spates. I'm joined now by the Director of Athletics here at SIUE, Tim Hall. And Tim, obviously facility improvements are a constant work around here, whether it's game or practice. And we're talking specifically about the wrestling room expansion project. How did we get to where we are now as we get closer to this final phase of funding?
Sure. First and foremost, your comment about facility improvement, renovation, and construction being a constant. You and others in the department hear me say all the time, you're either moving forward or you're falling behind. There's no status quo. And so we want to be on the forefront for all of our sports in terms of assessing their needs from a scholarship perspective, from a budgetary perspective, and certainly none are more important than a facility perspective. And so, specifically about wrestling, I give a lot of credit to Brad Hewitt, my predecessor, and Jason Coomer, who really started having these conversations and vision about what this renovated wrestling room would look like going forward into the future, and how important it was for Coach Spates to be able to have a first-class venue to be able to practice. And it's interesting when you talk about facilities, what the fans see every day is the big arena with the seats and the fans and the majestic nature of it. And Coach Spates will, I hope, agree with me when you interview him here in a minute. The guys go out and they wrestle in that environment, but what Jeremy as a teacher and a coach wants is that room that is set up in a way where the teaching and the learning and the education can take place in a top flight, for lack of a better way to say it, laboratory, so that they can do their best on the mats that are put out in the VC on match day. And so really supportive initiative from an institutional perspective. Chancellor Pembroke understood how important this was for our wrestling program going forward, and was able to commit institutional resources at a pretty significant number of right around $200,000, which I think is a clear indication that intercollegiate athletics is supported here, and our wrestling program is supported. And so, that was the launching pad for our alums to say, hey, it is clear that the institution values athletics, it values the wrestling program, and so as alums, we're willing to part with our resources in terms of donations to say yes to this program coming to fruition down the road.
The wrestling program has such a storied history here, a huge alumni base, and you mentioned obviously the alumni willing to give to part of this. One of those specifically was Alan Grammer, who again was at the forefront of this.
Oh, absolutely. Alan, from the first time I met him, it's hard to believe I'll be here 2 years in a month. Will be my 2-year anniversary, and I met Alan early on, and it is clear he is all things pro SIUE. not just the wrestling program, but the athletic department and the institution at large. If you were going to say a definition of an SIUE supporter in the dictionary, it would be Alan's face. And as an aside, he still looks like he could probably look like he'd win a couple matches or two. And so he understands the need for facilities. He is an entrepreneur and a businessman, and so he very keenly understood if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. And so for him to say yes to this important initiative was also really important, because Alan commands so much respect, not only in our community and our region, but in the wrestling community as well. And so it's another example of, well, if Alan's on board, now others will say, hey, this is the right thing to do, and we're going to get on board as well. And so, you know, we're a little over 80% of the way there, and you know, the good news is we're under six figures in terms of what we need to raise. And you know, myself and our advancement team and Coach Spates feel really confident that we can make a closing push here to raise the rest of that money. But I promise you, this is going to be a fantastic facility that is going to prove dividends for our wrestling program going forward.
Well, I certainly look forward to it, and I appreciate you taking some time to talk about it today.
Absolutely, Joe. Always a pleasure.
That's our Director of Athletics, Tim Hall.